Oh man, you guys, I wonder what this mystery game could possibly be. I'm really excited. Are you excited? I've never been so excited in my life.
It's been a long time, Dodoria. Vegeta! You!
Welcome everybody to Raging Blast 2, which was formerly my favorite Dragon Ball game. It is now my second favorite. Although I prefer Tenkaichi 2 because of its extensive story mode, this one is my favorite for gameplay. I think it might have the best gameplay in the whole series. The game was actually criticized quite a bit for a few reasons. One of them being that the controls were way more complicated than any other game in the Tenkaichi series. They added a ridiculous amount of new maneuvers, which means the battles got closer than ever to being an accurate representation of Dragon Ball Z. Unfortunately, this came with way more complicated controls, including no longer using special attacks the same way. They ran out of button space so hard that the right stick is actually used as a separate set of buttons just for your special attacks. A lot of people picked the game up and then promptly said, "I can't deal with this bullshit, what are these controls?" and then dropped the controller, presumably. I think that's how it went. The block button's been replaced with the signature attack button. You use the control pad to charge your ki. It screwed with a lot of people. But if you can get past that, you'll find everything you loved about Tenkaichi here just way more complex and involving. Well, most of it. There's a good chance that even if you play the game for over 10 hours, you still will not have learned everything there is about the game mechanics. And if you think you have, then I suggest trying the online mode, because there are several Japanese people there who would love to disagree with you.
You've gotten stronger, Vegeta, and it's a shame you're a bit worldly for not. I won't let you get away! We Saiyans grow stronger every time we fight.
Now that we've gotten that fight out of the way, we can talk about the other big complaint about Raging Blast 2. You see, this game doesn't exactly have a story mode. It has a galaxy mode, and each of the 60-something characters has one, but there's no real story in any of them. It's just a series of challenges. As an individual who's experienced the story of Dragon Ball Z countless times, this did not bother me very much, but I guess that would bother a lot of people.
It's our turn now, Vegeta.
If you are interested in a version of this game that has all of the story, but slightly less polished mechanics, then I suggest trying the original Raging Blast. It's pretty much like this, but slightly less complicated. Okay, maybe a lot less complicated. Be warned, though, that the control layout is pretty much the same. So if the controls turn you off that badly, then you probably won't like the original Raging Blast either, though it is far less difficult than this one. It also has a bunch of what-if stories, which are really ridiculous, and a lot of them place the characters in scenarios where they would act quite differently. Not in a good way. I mean, they would be out of character, because whoever wrote the what-if scenarios did not pay much attention to the original Dragon Ball. Some of the highlights are Yamcha viciously attacking both Vegeta and Trunks because Vegeta stole Bulma away. And even though Trunks says, "Hey, if you defeat me, I won't be born," Yamcha's just like, "I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna do it."
Get closer and closer to becoming a Super Saiyan.
There's also one where Gogeta and Vegito fight and Trunks fights his younger self. It's weird shit. If you ever wanted to play a game that is a simulation of Dragon Ball fanfiction, then Raging Blast is your best bet.
I'll show you what a Saiyan is capable of!
Oh, Jice, the red magma to get you for!
Right now I am playing one of the later releases of Raging Blast 2, which has all of the original music removed and replaced with Tenkaichi 2's music. The change didn't really bother me that much, and they left the original Raging Blast alone because this scandal didn't occur until Raging Blast 2 came out, so I'm good with that. The original Raging Blast has some really goofy but also really enjoyable music in it. And if there's any justice, right now you're starting to hear one of my favorite tracks from the original Raging Blast because I included it in post-editing. Alright, that's enough of that. Now Vegeta's ultimate special attack can actually be used twice if you press the attack button quickly enough. This always struck me as a little bit ridiculous, so do your best to avoid his first ultimate special attack unless you just want to get pounded while you're down. Graphically, I think this is one of the best looking Dragon Ball Z titles, though Burst Limit absolutely looked pretty good too. Ow.
My turn.
I won't let you get away! I'm the strongest fighter in the universe! Die! 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 Saiyans are a race of warriors. You won't make a fool out of me.
Alright, so this is the last one, and it's a battle against Frieza. Now Frieza is supposed to transform during this fight, but in true fashion to the rest of this Let's Play, we're going to break that.
You think you can just toss me aside, Frieza? You're in for a rude awakening!
Oh, it would seem you've forgotten just how terrifying I can be. Well, let me remind you.
Now when I say this is the last one, I don't mean this is the last fight in Vegeta's Galaxy mode. I mean, this is the last one we're doing, and if you want to see more, you gotta go play it for yourself. I realize I didn't talk very much about the game mechanics, but I could have spent hours talking about the game mechanics and still not get anywhere. This game does have one of my favorite bits of Dragon Ball Z trivia, though. If you beat Frieza as Captain Ginyu, instead of taunting Frieza, Ginyu's like, "Lord Frieza, you should look out better. You don't want to get beaten in combat." Which shows how loyal Ginyu is to Frieza.
Come and show me your true self!
Well, if you want to die like I won't stand in your way.
I won't let you get away!
You'll ever get to see.
It's not even hard to break Frieza out of his transformation, you just have to be hitting him while that dialogue occurs, and he never tries to transform again.
You're the first to ever make such a fool out of me. I won't let you get away with this. Here I go.